Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Mindset Magic, where we share strategies on all things mindset, emotions, and how to thrive and live life with passion and purpose. My name's Kaz Sanderman, and I'm an energetic healer and transformation coach and founder of the brand new and very exciting Matriarchal Muse Facebook group, woohoo, which I'll share a little bit about later in the session. So today I'm here with my fabulous, wise and wonderful co-hosts, accredited nutritionist and personal health coach, Aliyah Stiklinski, and mindset and results coach, Christy Roberts of Creating Change. Welcome, ladies. How are you today?
Fabulous.
Awesome.
Good, good. So if you're watching this session of Mindset Magic, please comment #Mindset Magic and make sure you interact, drop us an emoji, send us some love, say hi, and let us know where you've tuned in from. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section below, as we love to share our knowledge. We have tools and strategies that can empower you to move forward with life. So please feel free to drop us some questions. We love them. So each week, we turn our attention to a different topic. And this week, we'd like to share some tips, tools, and strategies that may empower you to stop being a people pleaser and to start putting yourself first. I love this topic.
Yes.
I love it. And I'm pretty sure many people watching this will be able to identify with it on some level. And I know I certainly do. Can you, ladies?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, people pleasing is really common. And once you start to notice yourself, or notice the signs, you'll see them in yourself and you'll see them in other people as well, to varying degrees. So things like being one of those people who can't say no when you're asked to do something, or offering to do things even when you don't want to do them. How many times have we done that? Or offering to help others when you're crazy busy yourself and you're like, oh yeah, or do you need a hand? I'll help you. Or, you know, staying back late at work or at a friend's place, even when you've already got plans. Do any of these sound familiar? Because they do to me. I've done them a million times. So these are just a few examples of the hundreds of ways that we try to please other people. So there are a few important things we need to ask ourselves. The first one is my people-pleasing behaviour detrimental to my own physical and mental health? And what are my reasons for feeling the need to please other people? As Paulo Coelho says, when you say yes to others, make sure you're not saying no to yourself.
Love that.
Yeah. So to begin with, I thought I'd share just a few of the reasons people may feel the need to people please. I'll be quick here. So maybe they're trying to avoid conflict, or maybe it makes them feel worthy, important, and needed. Or maybe they're seeking acceptance, or perhaps they're seeking praise and approval. Or maybe from a past life experience, they've perceived that they're the one who has to do everything. So this has just become a lifetime habit. So I can identify with quite a few of those, and I'll share my story later. But whatever the reason, being a people pleaser is a fast track to burnout. And oftentimes it can cause a buildup of resentment and unhappiness, because people begin to feel burdened. They begin to feel overwhelmed by the load they're trying to carry without taking any time out to care for themselves and to replenish their own energy. So we'll have a look at some examples, and also have a look at identifying the reason or the root cause for behaviour in these instances. So at this point, I'm going to turn to our fabulous Mindset Magic muses, Christy and Aliyah, and ask them to share their experiences, whether personal or professional, either or, with people pleasing. And if you could identify the root cause or the reason behind that behaviour. So Aliyah, I'll ask you first. Can you share any experiences that you've had with clients, or that you've had personally with people pleasing?
Yeah, like I find that, you know, I've seen it in clients them wanting to, please others, put others before themselves. And it's not always to strangers, it's usually to their partners, to their mum, to their dad. And this can be a problem because, like you said, it does affect, if we say, if we can't say no to others, does that mean that we're not saying yes to ourselves? And a lot of the time, the harsh reality is it's true. We're sacrificing ourselves for others. And so I've seen this in clients, and one of the last places I saw it in was myself. And as we grow as individuals, doesn't matter what we do, even if we're healers and practitioners, we still are growing and learning. So I definitely learnt about people pleasing with myself. I think it stemmed from being rejected, like feeling rejected or abandoned. People pleasers usually one of the factors can be that they are afraid of being rejected or abandoned, preoccupied about what other people think, fearful of saying no, setting limits. So in my case, personal experience, I found this a very interesting topic because my parents divorced when I was 5. And because they were arguing, I felt like I had to look after them emotionally. They weren't always available emotionally to look after my needs. Coming from a Polish background, back then, that generation wasn't really all about talking about emotions. No way. Like, they had to survive with, starving from the war and the aftermath of the war, and to get into emotions, that would just kill them, and so that's what it was. It was just watching them sort of, struggle with that aftermath of the war and within themselves. And, as a child, when we have to deal with other people's emotions, then, we do anything we can to feel loved. And so I wanted to please my mom. I wanted to please my dad. And I would do things I didn't want to do, like wear fancy clothes and dress up when I was young and wear scrunchies and makeup. And, I was a star child. And I didn't particularly want to do that. And I was pleasing my mum to make her happy. I wanted to see her happy because sometimes she was, dealing with life. And then sometimes she wasn't. So no way did I want to interrupt that. I wanted to see her happy because then I felt loved. And that's what we do as children. It's not our fault. It's not even my mum or dad's fault. It's just, a way of life and a pattern. And it's so good to know to talk about today. So I definitely find myself people pleasing still, but I do stand up for myself more. It's taken me time to acknowledge and to work on bit by bit. It's definitely been a journey. And I highly recommend that people acknowledge this. If you are a people pleaser, or you feel that you are hungry for the approval of others, it's quite common, and there's a good reason.
Yeah, and that's great personal insight. You've really dug deep to look for that. And it's also really good that you've recognized, there are reasons behind why your parents behaved the way they did or weren't able to show the emotion that you needed at the time. And as adults, we know that we can help that inner child heal by having that compassion and recognition for, the other people that we have felt in the past have caused our issues or been part of the problem. So that's awesome. Thanks, Alia.
Yeah, thanks, Cass.
So, Christy, can you share any experience you or your clients have had with people pleasing, and whether you could identify the reasoning or limiting belief behind that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's just so many examples. I started writing them down. I'm like, where do I stop? I think, when I did my coaching training, we were told that 80% of people are people pleasers. And I totally agree with that. In fact, I would say even more, because at the end of the day, we're looking for that validation. We want people to like us. We want to belong. We want to feel loved. We want to be accepted. So there's just so many layers to this. But I like to think of it, people don't like the word selfish, but this is about putting your own needs first. That's not a selfish thing. It's about becoming selfish, so becoming more aware of how you're treating yourself, because the thing here is it's nice to do things for other people, but if it's at the detriment of you, that's an issue.
Yeah.
So that's the line. Is it at the detriment of you? So if you're exhausted and you're still doing stuff for other people, or if you're overworked and not coping with your workload and you're still, other people are coming in and you're helping them, that's a problem. So there's so many examples though. And I think for me personally, I've worked in HR for over 25 years. So I've seen this so many times with workers, and it's been a real issue where they're not getting through all their work. They're totally stressed out, totally overloaded, but they're helping everybody else. Like they're the go-to person, and everyone loves them, because they'll help, I'll go and see whoever it is. I won't say names because people might know who I'm talking about. But we all know that person, right? The person who will do anything to help you, and we all really like that person. But the thing is that's at their cost, because they're not getting through their work. They're stressed out. So it's being very clear about that. I've really been trying to practice this, and like earlier, I like to please people. I want people to like me. I mean, I think most of us do. But it's things like, in this day and age, I get messages. I get a lot of messages on Facebook, especially running a business. Just because people message me doesn't mean I have to message them back.
No.
Right? Just because someone rings me doesn't mean I have to ring them back. So when it comes to stopping the people pleasing, it's like, what do you need in this moment? Are you just responding out of a sense of loyalty, or a sense because that's what you've always done? And the way to know if it's a problem is if you don't do what you think they want, do you feel guilty?
Yeah.
Because if it creates guilt in you, then that's an issue. So today is all about being aware of boundaries. Kaz is going to talk a bit about boundaries later, but also knowing how to put yourself first. I've got another really good example. When I was single, online dating, right?
Yeah.
So guys would message you and then they crack it if you don't reply. I'm like, well, excuse me, because you want to speak. That doesn't mean I want to speak. But there's almost like this culture, or, we've been raised that it's polite to respond. And yes, it's polite to respond. But in this day and age, the goalposts have changed with digital technology and the accessibility of messaging and marketing and spam. Someone else's priority is not ours. And so this is where it's really practicing that muscle, and it is a muscle. It's like you have to practice and you get better and better at it, of saying that's not my issue, or what am I getting out of it? Or what's important to me right now? So another example, and I have this with several clients, is mothers. And I say mothers, but I'm sure it happens with fathers as well. But I'm talking about my experience directly with my clients, where they've been unwell or had operations and doing everything around the house, and the family just takes it for granted. So the families are not stepping up and helping them when they need it, but they're the one doing everything. They're the one worrying. Because I think in many situations we take on roles and we feel it's our responsibility. But what we're actually doing is we're teaching people how to treat us. And so sometimes we actually need to put a stake in the sand and change the goalpost. We need to teach people how to treat us differently. And if we don't do that, or if we feel guilty about it, that's a problem. So this is where coaching comes in. Another one that I've had with several clients, and this is cultural based, is the tribe, like the family. So, you know, they've got the aunties and the expectations of cooking meals or being there or being the carer, you know, like they might take on certain roles in the family. Or they're treated, you know, 50-year-old woman and she's treated like a child by the matriarchs. You know, there's roles that we play, and in some cultures this is more prevalent than others. And there are expectations around what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And that can create sort of loyalty, guilt, like enmeshment with the family and that sort of thing. And so that's another, I mean, I actually did a coaching session on this just yesterday, and it was a cultural scenario where the aunties, you know, had certain expectations, and so they were quiet. And so the conversation that we had was, well, what are you contributing to the situation? Well, she was contributing by being silent.
Yeah.
So by not saying anything, she was contributing to how they were treating her. And so we worked on things that she could do to change the expectations, to change how she felt, so that she could start feeling happy in family environments again. And because she was getting to the point where she didn't want to go, and which creates, you know, who are you being when you're there? So there's so much sort of behind this conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's some of the, you know, ways that it can play out and how it can affect you.
Yeah, and you ladies, we're all self-directed healing practitioners. So, and you ladies would have found that this is probably one of the most common things that shows up in my sessions anyway. And those examples that I gave in the intro of trying to avoid conflict, feeling worthy, important and needed, seeking acceptance, seeking praise and approval, and, you know, from past experience, thinking that you have to be that person who does everything. Those things come up over and over and over. So this is really a common problem. And I know for myself personally, I fit into the category of wanting to feel important and needed, seeking praise and approval, and avoiding conflict. And to be honest, this situation set the one that set it all off for me was when we moved away from the kids who'd become young adults. They were doing their own thing. They were living their own lives. And all of a sudden, I felt like I didn't have a purpose anymore. I felt like I'd built my whole worthiness as a human around being this amazing mum.
The role.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, and living for my kids. And I had to let that daily routine go. And I was lost. Like I felt like no one needed me anymore and I wasn't important. So I actually got quite depressed and down about it. And that was a super challenging time in my life. And instead of taking the time to just allow myself to consider who I was as an individual and recognizing my worth in all these other aspects of my life, not just as a mother, what I did was I actually sought my feelings of worthiness and importance by serving others and pleasing people, you know. So, and I did that in the realm of work. So I literally threw myself into work because I was feeling so needy to feel important and worthy. So I took on roles I didn't want to do, roles that caused me stress and unhappiness. And I didn't want to upset anyone by saying no, because they were lovely people, right? And then I offered to help other people who were busy, even though I was crazy pulling my hair out busy because I just wanted to feel important and needed. And then I started to get resentful because I couldn't cope with everything I had to be and do. I started to dread going to work. I became angry and sullen. And, you know, I'm usually the bright light shining, bubbly, energetic girl running around the office. I brought the energy down in the office. So I still didn't want to stop though, because I was important. They needed me, and people needed me or the job wouldn't get done. And then finally my body and mind, as we've spoken about on previous sessions, my body and mind just said, no way, we can't do this anymore. You know, so that's what can happen if you're a chronic people pleaser like I was. You can burn out. You can become a shell of the happy, loving, fulfilled person that you have the potential to be. So I think it's really important for you to recognize the reasons why you became a people pleaser. And then that allows you to make choices based on what's best for you and your physical health and your mental health. So now that we understand a little bit more about people pleasing, and we can look at some of the reasons behind us being people pleasers. So we'll share some tools and strategies. Christy always has a wealth of tools and strategies in her tool belt for improving your mindset. So Christy, can you share some of these with us today in relation to overcoming being a people pleaser?
I have questions today, questions to ask yourself. But actually, you know what? I've got a model that I'll draw up. I've always got a whiteboard here. Let me draw this model.
Okay.
So this is called the self-esteem triad, and it's you can see that. And it's a triangle. And then up the top, we have emotions. On this point, we have needs. And on this point, we have boundaries. I don't know if I'm mirrored there or if you can see that. Am I mirrored?
No, we can see.
You're reading that properly. Now, what happens is, you know, we're all self-directed healing practitioners. So processing your emotions, understanding your emotions and processing them in a healthy way is paramount. So understanding that you're frustrated, you're building resentment, whatever it is, that's important. The next thing is to actually understand what are your needs.
Yeah.
So what are your needs and how can you fulfill your needs? Now, I know when I came out of my marriage, I had no idea. I was so busy, and I've talked about this previously, being the wife, the mother. I was working, I was running a business, like I was doing all this other stuff, looking after the house, and I was an organizer for lots of different things. But when the marriage fell apart, I was like, who is Christy?
Yeah.
I didn't know what my needs were because I was so busy fulfilling everyone else's needs.
Yeah.
So then what happens, once you're clear on your needs and you're healthfully able to express your emotions and connect with what they are, it allows you to set boundaries. And so boundaries are, I've got it on, hang on, let me just grab it. I've got a thing. Just bear with me. Hang on, bear with me. So I found a really good description of it just before. So boundaries are invisible force fields of what's okay and what's not okay. So our boundaries protect us. And the needs is when our needs are out of balance, we become needy. And so when we become needy, others tolerate us.
Yeah.
So, and relationships can't flourish when people are tolerating us. It's really important to understand that other people aren't mind readers. So they can't read what our needs are. We need to connect with what our needs are, and need to be able to express that in a healthy way. So we need to fill those needs ourselves. So this is about filling them yourself. Let me come back. And once you can set healthy boundaries, so of what's okay and what's not okay, this is what leads to self-esteem. And so when we have healthy self-esteem, we're much more likely to not feel guilty by implementing our boundaries or putting up the, I hope that's helpful.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd draw that. And the other thing I've got, that's called the self-esteem triad. So that's something I work with clients. I've got some questions. So what will it take to pay attention to the call of your heart rather than attention to what your family or the people around you want of you? So that's one question. What would it take for you to pay attention to the call of your heart rather than pay attention to what others want from you? Do you have a vision that's greater than what other people see of you? So what is your vision for yourself? Can you accept that it's reasonable to put your needs first? So that's another question to be asking yourself. What is something you could say yes to that's going to make you happy? What if you didn't mind keeping the peace? What if you didn't mind keeping the peace? And I love this one. What if you were okay with a little bit of rocking the boat?
Yeah, good.
Because when you teach people how to treat you, and where it will stem from, it'll stem from childhood, like how we behave in childhood, and as you go through life you learn how to behave and do different things. So we learn what works for us. If you're the good girl or the caregiver or the hero, you know, we're all people pleasers. If you're the black sheep or the rebellious one, then you're probably not the people pleaser. You probably do the opposite of what people want. So it's understanding what role you play. How much of your time is spent in the role of eager to please?
Yeah,
is another question. And something that I challenge my clients to is to give yourself a month of saying yes to you. So actually practice that muscle of stepping into your own power, establishing your own boundaries, recognizing, I don't want to do that. So, hey, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
Try it on. Try it
Yeah.
on. Start saying yes to you. I'll just see if there's any other questions here. Is it people who expect them to say, oh, no, I won't ask that one. Yeah, so instead of saying yes because you don't want to say no, practice saying, can I get back to you?
Yeah.
So, you know, this happened, this is the strategy I had to use with one of my clients, because there were the expectations of the family and her role in the family. It was actually affecting her health. And so what we did was and I got her to do it in the mirror, practice, instead of saying yes, really just practice, can I get back to you? Or, yes, I'm happy to do that, but I actually need to do this first. So, you know, it's about learning language, just learning tools, learning ways that you can support yourself to do the things that you want to do. Is that going to help me achieve what I want to achieve, or is that going to be in my way? Because other people's fires, and I'm talking about in a work context now, you have the urgent important matrix. You may or may not have heard of it, but it's about understanding, is it urgent? Is it my problem? Because if it's not your problem, then it's other people's fires, and your role is to not have to put out other people's fires. Your role is to reach your key strategic objectives. So in a work context, be really clear on what your goals are, what your objectives are, and is this stuff in the way? You know, when emails come in, you don't have to answer them as soon as they come in. You know, that's a pattern, a bad pattern of behaviour that people get into. They can wait, and you can do your emails at between 4 and 5 in the afternoon when you're not as productive, doing more important tasks. So you can structure your day around when you've got time for interruptions and when you haven't. And I mean, I could keep talking, but that's some of the strategies that I've got.
Okay, we knew you would have a heap.
Yeah.
Alia, what wisdom can you share in relation to working through people-pleasing behaviours?
Gosh, there's so many tools there, Christy. Definitely language. I would recommend language, looking at your language. So, for example, instead of saying to a client or to a loved one even, oh, sorry, I did that again. It's okay to say sorry. It's a good thing to say sorry. But also you could switch it around every now and then and say thank you for your patience. You know, if we're
sorry, I agree, Alia. I've got a girlfriend. She says sorry for everything. I'm like, why are you sorry? It's so disempowering.
It is, and
really disempowering.
watch your language, like otherwise it's just, it's tiring. It's tiring for everyone. So, put the emotion out of it. I mean, it's good to understand your emotions, but, just, say, instead of saying sorry all the time, sorry, I did this, it's my fault. You're basically admitting that you're feeling guilty and shame, which is something you need to work on.
Exactly.
So exactly. So the next step would be to see a self-directed practitioner, such as Kaz, Christy, or myself, because we help you process your emotions, these deep, deep emotions on a subconscious level that we can't tap into ourselves, such as guilt and shame. And that's usually where a lot of the problems with people pleasing stem from. And it's so alleviating. Like, I had a session with Christy the other week, and I just felt like a whole new woman, literally, because that's what we worked on. So the next thing I would actually recommend is explore and understand who you are. So not only process guilt and shame, whether it's maybe through your own way of maybe music, talking to a loved one that just listens rather than tries to fix your problems, or a self-directed healing session. So, processing emotions is important, but at the same time, explore, understand, create who you really are, understand what it's like to be confident, and to be unapologetic for being, for feeling a certain way. Even if you do feel guilt or shame, don't feel guilty for it. We'll understand that that's, something that's there, and just understand that, like, as a mum, for example, I find that I feel guilty. I find myself naturally feeling guilty for needing sleep, for
Oh,
well, like, my partner, he always says to me,
no.
stop trying to be a hero. And I'm like, what do you mean? But, as mums, we tend to, well, I know out of being a mum, just want to be there and be 110%. But at the same time, I need sleep. Like, we all need to look after ourselves. And if we notice that we aren't tired because we're not getting enough sleep, ask for it or talk about it with your partner. If you are stressed, that's okay. Like, a lot of us experience anxiety. It's not a bad thing. It's just a way, we cope, and it's okay. It's just acknowledge it, and be unapologetic for it, and do something about it, like exercise or nutrition. So find a way. As a mum, I've had to find a way. So being unapologetic for being me, for being less of a people pleaser and more of discovering who I am, I find ways. So I take a little baby Oliver to the beach for a walk. I do mindfulness. I make a smoothie. These small little things are about looking after me, and I feel good for it. And I highly recommend that, that anyone out there who's a mum, or, a business person, someone that finds it hard to really change that pattern of being selfless, to just be creative and find a way to add in the things that are needed for you throughout the day. Because, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. Sometimes we just don't have time. We just have to be creative with it. Even a few moments, it all counts.
Yeah, I love that. Be unapologetically you. Absolutely. That's awesome. Okay, so my tools and strategies were, I want you to get crystal clear on what you're getting out of this behavior, because you're doing it because you're getting something out of it. So what emotional needs do you have that are being satisfied by being this way? And Christy talked a little bit about this, So my example of feeling worthy, important, and needed at work replaced the fact that I was feeling unworthy and not needed and not important in my kids' lives. So I was satisfying those emotional needs at work. I just did a replacement, basically, of what I wanted to feel. So then you can even chunk down further by asking why you need to feel what it is you feel.
Love that.
So in my example, I needed to feel needed and important. And it was only through really deep introspection and that I realized that I needed to feel this way because I had a limiting belief that I wasn't enough.
Mm.
So I'd created this whole drama story, right? If I just do more, if I just be more, if I just have more, if people just need me, then I'll be enough. So unless people needed me, unless I was always doing or pleasing or making things happen and being important to people, I perceived that I wasn't enough. And so this is where self-directed healing is transformational, truly transformational, because it allows us to disconnect from these limiting beliefs and to choose new empowering ways of being and doing. So in my example, I actually undertook self-directed healing practitioner training. And during that training, I healed many of my own limiting beliefs, and I'm not enough was one of them. So, maybe 2 months after that training and after I released that belief, I quit my job. I started working on my passion project. I recognized all of the amazing qualities that I have as a human, me, just me, not being anything to anybody else. And I loved myself no matter what, because every single day I'm doing the very best I can and I am recognizing that. So I think it's really important to understand what you're getting from this people pleasing and why you need to feel the way you feel. What is that limiting belief? Why do you need to feel that way? The second tool that I had, and Christy mentioned on this as well, was setting compassionate boundaries. So one of the first things that's important to do is to give yourself a list or write yourself a list of absolute no's and absolute yeses in your life. And then as you do this, ask yourself, do they empower me or do they disempower me? Are they healthy for my mind, body, and soul, or are they not? Or are they in between? That makes it so much easier for you to make a decision as to whether you do or don't choose to do anything. And then when you make a decision to set a boundary around something that you don't want to do, make sure that you communicate it in a respectful, compassionate, and kind way. And it's got to be kind to the other person and compassionate to yourself, because this is acting in integrity to all parties. So I explain it as a love sandwich because, I'm all about love and stuff. So I'll give you an example. Say someone wants you to go out to dinner with them because they've got somewhere new to go. There's going to be this guy there. They want you to go because they're scared to go on their own. Well, firstly, ask yourself, is this a clear yes or no for me? Like, do I have other plans? Do I need to look after myself with rest, or am I happy to go? Could be a clear yes, could be a clear no, could be a, oh, well, I could shuffle something around. So just ask yourself where it is on your scale. Yes, no, maybe. Right? If it's no, be kind. Tell the person how much you love them and enjoy their company. Oh, hey, Christy, I love you so much. I love hanging out with you, but, I have to actually look after my grandbaby tonight. So, look, I want you to have the very best time, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait to hear how your night went, but I'm sorry, I can't come. That's a compassionate boundary, because you're telling them you love them. You're telling them you can't go and why. You're telling them that you're really excited. You want them to have a great night and you want to hear all about it. You're showing them respect, but you're showing yourself integrity and respect too, right? You have stuck with your plan. I'm not going. Similarly, if you having a little blow up with your partner and your partner wants to have a conversation right now, you can just say, look, I love you so much. I do. And I really want to talk to you, but I just need some time to clear my head. I'm just going to go and take some time, but I really want to talk to you about this and I will be back. I'll be back tonight and we'll talk about it, blah, blah, blah. So you're telling them you love them. You're making sure they know that you want to talk about the situation, but you are setting a boundary of giving yourself space so that you're not telling them you're doing it so that you don't say things you don't want them to hear, because we don't want to threaten people either. What we want to do is we want to get squeaky clean around our own emotions, and we want to be able to sort out, is this such a drama? Is what we're arguing over even worth arguing over? You know, you're giving yourself time. So that's a boundary as well. If these people have a problem with your reply, that's their emotional issue. It's not yours. It's their issue. So once you're confident with your yeses and your nos, having clear boundaries becomes so much easier because you're less likely to be manipulated. You trust your decisions and you feel, it's like you're stepping into your power. You're like, yeah, I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to be gracious, but no, thank you. I won't be attending this time. But hey, I'd love to come next time. So, I think this is another topic that we could talk for hours and hours and hours about. But I think we've provided some good tools and strategies and some great questions for people to ask themselves during our time together today. So did you ladies have anything else you want to add, or would you like to discuss anything you're currently working on that you'd like to share?
I think the main thing is to know that this is a muscle. If you're not used to doing it, it will feel weird, it will feel strange, it will feel uncomfortable. Different emotions are going to come up. The people, like if it is your partner is used to treating you one type of way, or your family, and all of a sudden you're different. Yeah. That's might cause friction. So it's about understanding, if you're changing the goalposts and you're becoming more self-aware, just have the conversation. Hey, just so you know, I'm really working on, doing things like, earlier you were talking about needing sleep. It's like, we have to put on our own oxygen mask before we can help other people. And so, I've got clients who are literally in really severe health issues where their bodies are breaking down and they're so busy trying to do things for everybody else. Like, our body talks to us, we need to listen. I say this nearly every episode. And so it's about really tapping into what you need. It's about practicing the muscle, but be really open and transparent about it so they understand, so that you can have that conversation, because that's coming from a compassionate space.
Yeah.
And recognize that it takes time. You can't just click your fingers and say, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like, it doesn't actually work like that, because we're literally reprogramming patterns of behavior and ways that we've done things and limiting beliefs. We've got to get rid of the guilt, the shame that goes along with it, and judgment. We tend to be all quite judgmental. So there's a lot going on, but it's definitely totally doable. So, start with that, exactly what you guys have said. No, I don't really want to do that. I say, just practice starting that muscle. Just, look, not this time, or can I call you later, or whatever it happens to be. And just be really true to yourself, because you feel it. Like, we know, you feel it. You feel resistance. Notice the resistance.
Yeah, and you've got some fabulous news with a website, I believe. So would you like to share that information?
I have launched my website. Yay. So it's christyrobertscoaching.com. Please go on and have a look. There's an option to subscribe to my list, so that any events that I'm running, or any, new content, Will, once I get going, I'll be able to send that out to people. You'll be able to keep up with interviews and all my different channels and that sort of thing. So I also offer free strategy calls, but I'm super proud of the website. It's really kick-ass. It's pretty cool. So done a lot of work on it. So hop on, have a look, and then you can see more about what I'm actually about, all the different areas that I work in as well, because this is kind of just one area. Yeah.
Awesome. Alia, how about yourself?
Yes, change. I was just thinking, change is just as hard as being a people pleaser and the consequences of that. It's not easy experiencing change, initiating change. It can feel just as hard as being in the situation, but it is better to be prepared for that and to move forward, because we're always being true to ourselves and living our purpose. And it's important to to know that it's not easy, but it is so worthwhile. When you look back, you'll go, oh my gosh, I've come such a long way.
No.
Yeah.
It feels so good to say yes to you, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so empowering, and the more you do it, the more confident you get, and you'll look back and you'll go, well, I can't believe it.
You ladies make it so much easier, because it's just taking in one little tool today, for this week will make a difference. It all makes a difference. It's like adding sticks to a river, or branches. The river starts flowing just a slightly different direction. So just those little tools or sticks, it just takes you to the direction that you need. So it all matters, or the efforts with initiating tools that help you. If you wanted to see what I'm about, you can head to my website, personalhealthcoach.com.au. I'm also on Facebook and YouTube. And yourself, Kat?
Well, I am super excited, because this coming Friday, the 20th of November, so this will probably come out after that, but I'm officially launching the Matriarchal Muse Facebook group to the world. Yeah! So this group, it's literally my passion project. So basically, I am mega passionate about leading generational healing by empowering the women of the world to step into their power, raise their standards, and lead by example. So if you're interested in empowering the next generation, because literally I can't sit still when I talk about it, I'd love for you to join my group. So all you need to do is search Matriarchal Muse. So that's MATRIARCHAL Muse, MUSE, which basically means we're inspiring matriarchs. And just request to join and we'll let you in. The thing that I want to get across to people is that I have a vision to redefine the perception of a matriarch. So I don't believe it should just be the stern old woman of the family. I think that as women of all ages, we're all role models to someone. So whether you're a mother or a stepmother or a grandparent or a sister or an auntie or a coach or a teacher, you are a role model to someone. And to me, that makes you a leader as a woman. And to me, that is a matriarch. So that's what this page is about. It's about inspiring women to raise their standards and live their very best lives, so that the next generation can live with confidence and resilience and, pride and happiness. So that's what's going on for me. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
It's very exciting. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's pretty much it from us today. If you feel like you're a people pleaser and you would like to release the limiting beliefs and the emotions that keep you stuck in this behavior, please reach out to either myself, Kaz Sanderman, or Aaliyah Steglinski, or Christy Roberts at Christy Roberts Coaching. Is that right, Christy?
Correct.
Yeah. And Aaliyah, yours personal health coach?
Yep, that's it.
Yep, just reach out to any of us. So we all offer a free discovery session so that we can see if we connect and see if, you know, a self-directed healing session is the right fit for you. And we can either do that via Zoom, telephone, and very soon I believe we'll be able to do it in person. I'm not sure if you girls in Melbourne can do that yet, but we'll see. Yeah. Okay, so you'll be able to find our contact details in the description for this video anyway. So it has been an absolute pleasure being here with you all today. I hope you've been able to take away something of value from our time together. We've shared a lot of tools and strategies and questions and introspective thoughts. So really think about the things that you're learning today. I love Alia's sticks in the water. I love that analogy. That's a beautiful analogy for it's just the little small things that we all put together that will create the diversion and the change. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. It's been fantastic holding space with you again this week. I thank you for your words of wisdom. And to our viewers, we hope you have the most amazing day, night, whenever you're watching this. And we look forward to sharing more mindset magic with you soon. Mwah. See you later.
Bye, everyone. Take care.